my experience that physical education in schools predominated by a bunch of competitive team-based sports, usually involving a ball, and these are structured throughout the year in 4-week cycles. So you spend 3 or 4 weeks on the one sport, then you move to the next sport, you move to the next sport, and you move to the next sport. This is punctuated, of course, by swimming sports and athletics carnivals, but generally it's predictable as to what the sports will be, and that they will cycle through, and at every year level they'll start from scratch again and go back to basics. Hi Kaylin.
Hi.
So tell me about Phys Ed.
What about it?
What do you do in Phys Ed?
Well, lately we've been doing athletics.
Yep.
Because it's like athletic season, and we chose our things for the inter-school sports, and we've done swim sports as well.
What's your normal Phys Ed class like?
Well, we do stuff like volleyball. We've been doing volleyball lately, and
How long would you do volleyball for? How many weeks have you learnt volleyball?
3.
3 weeks. And how long have you got to go on volleyball, or was volleyball finished?
Volleyball's finished. So we did, the first week we were doing like all the throws and stuff of volleyballs. Name one of the skills of volleyball that you learnt? Well, I knew it, so we did a bit last year, like sets and stuff, like digs and stuff, how you hold it like that.
Yep.
Hit it.
You played volleyball. Did you get many goes where the ball went over and back across the net lots of times?
Sometimes, yeah.
What happened mostly?
Normally it went like someone served it, then they hit it back once, and then they
That was it.
So
Liam, tell me about your Phys Ed class.
what about it?
What do you do? What are some of the things you do?
Well, we just learn how to throw a ball and kick a ball, really.
And what do you do with that? How do you do that?
We just throw it to each other, and that's really boring. Kind of stand around a bit, and we had to do the volleyball practice. Like, someone was standing at the front. There was a line of like 5 people, and the person at the front just threw it to you, and you had to set it back like 50 times. Otherwise, like, the person at the front threw it, and you had to dig it or something.
You just did that over and over and over.
And you just stood in line for a fair bit.
So you stood in line. How long would it take you to get to the front of the line?
3 minutes.
And then how many shots did you get when you got to the front?
I think you got about 2.
Okay, so 2 shots every 3 minutes. 2 goes at it every 3 minutes.
Yeah, it kind of got a bit boring just doing that anyway, because like we did that for 45 minutes.
What sort of games do you play?
Well, we played chicken run, where the one person has to run down the middle and the people throw the balls in, and people, if a ball hits you, you have to sit down. Much of the learning centres around skills and drills, so teaching the skills in isolation, isolation of the context for the game, and then hopefully if there's time at the end of the session they might chuck it into a game. Usually the game's quite dysfunctional because the students haven't learnt how to contextualise the skills that they've been practicing in isolation. Everyone was just standing in their spots and they're just like
trying to reach the ball. So they
felt like they were nailed there, like so they could.
So you had no idea that you're allowed to move around the court.
He didn't tell anyone. So
physical education in a lot of schools, in this case, we're talking about a primary school context, but it really wouldn't matter. Consists mainly of lots of different games, lots of different sporting skills, learned usually out of context with the actual game. Kids really want to play the game, and sport and games that are meaningful. But I would also stress there's very little in the way of socio-cultural practices. What are the barriers? What are the issues associated with physical activity in and around schools and community? There's very little in the way of the biophysical, which we learn about in university in year 11 and 12, but don't seem to spend any time on in the earlier years, even though kids are quite capable of learning that stuff. So Phys Ed for me is a pretty narrow set of organised sporting activities based around a bunch of core skills. And it could do a hell of a lot more to expand itself above and beyond that and be a lot more meaningful.